see, we are still not done with all the news and updates from Riot Games after the entire Hextech debacle. Because while the entire gacha system was indirectly dialed back, which was mostly due to the colorful feedback regarding Mordekaiser, meaning that exalted skins will be coming out slower, the entire system also had some other parts that were still full of holes. With one such part being the entire Mythic store. Because yes, slowly it got fully integrated into the entire gacha ecosystem. You see, it is one thing to have a gacha system that is not exactly favoring the players who are pulling. But it's a whole another thing if you have a gacha system where the secondary drops are not great. And well, if you don't get the big drop from the gacha machine, League has a bit over 90% chance of giving you Mythic Essence. The problem is that people didn't really feel great when looking for whatever they could spend their Essence on. And so, trying to listen to all the feedback at once, Riot gave us a big post where they talk about updates to 3 different shops. The Mythic shop, your shop, and the Blue Essence Emporium. And so now, without further ado, let's have a look at what is Riot exactly changing. Starting with, perhaps the biggest one, Mythic shop. According to the post, the point of the Mythic shop was to give you an option to get items that are no longer available. This would be past items from passes or events, or even previous limited shop offerings. To which I would like to ask, was this always the obvious intention of this shop? Like, I'll be honest, I never saw the Mythic shop as a way to get items that are no longer available. I simply saw it as a shop with a totally separate currency that has a slightly more prestigious skins. And I never really thought about it like a vault of lost items. Anyway, then they say that they really wanna bring up the quality of this shop, and so they went for a bigger update. Our vision of the Mythic shop is that it provides not just a second chance, but potentially multiple chances a year in getting the past content you've been waiting to obtain. So yes, maybe I am the only one who didn't see it as like a time-limited catching up or anything like that. We want to show you more stuff so you have more opportunities to buy stuff you want. Since there's also more things at lower price points, we want that to rotate through faster so you can see more of it per patch. It should also be extremely clear when content is going away and when you can expect new content to be in it. Here, just pay attention to the fact that they will be notifying you when new loot will come, but not what. We'll talk about it in a moment. Anyway, in short, the shop will now have separate categories. And every category will have a totally separate timer. And that is because every category is also tied to a different value of the items they are offering. So at the very least, you will know exactly when the content will rotate. With the specific categories being the featured category, this will pretty much have the most up-to-date content. This may be brand new skins, it may also be older updated skins. Maybe anything tied to a new event or a VGU, ASU, anything like that. But for the most part, this will contain the newest prestige skins as well as Nexus finishers. And when it comes to the timer, this category is gonna have a big one. We're talking about multiple months, because this is content that is spanning through patches. But then there is also a category for the bigger items, which will rotate every 2 weeks. In total, it should have 12 mythic skins, which is a lot to be fair, and it will be mostly the stuff that is exclusive to all of those made-up currencies. So stuff like Ashen Knight skins, Hextech skins, and of course all of the older prestige skins. Now below this there is an even smaller category, which is pretty much for chromas. This will rotate every week, and it will have 8 chromas from previous passes, events, anything like that. But below that there is an even smaller category which rotates daily, which just has emotes and wards and so on, so I guess icons too. Now the interesting thing is that this update to the Mythic store is up right now. To be fair, it took me a while to find it, because of course it is not in the store, you will not actually find it there. You have to go into loot, but remember that Mythic Essence is no longer shown in your inventory, so you actually have to find it in the tab at the top, next to the gacha machine. But yes, it is live right now, and you can see that Kiana is gonna be featured for a very long time. Now, according to the post, this means that in total, every patch there is gonna be 56 items available. Of course, all of these will rotate through, and also keep in mind that there's gonna be just a lot of filler content, such as these emotes and words that are just rotating daily. But to be fair, those 12 rotating prestige skins is still a really big offering. Now, another thing to point out, and this is related to what we mentioned before, is that this entire system is automated, meaning that they know when things will rotate. Which is why they said that they will be able to notify you when things will rotate, but they will not be able to tell you what will be coming in. Because since the system is automated, Riot doesn't really have that much control over what will make it in. The point is that Riot wants to make a new system which they don't have to deal with. Which is great because at least their resources can go elsewhere. But thankfully, they do have control over one thing, and that is the featured content. So at least the featured items are controlled, and so we will know what is coming there. In fact, at the end of this post, Riot already teased what's gonna be the next skin after the Prestige Kiana. Another cool thing to point out here is that finally Riot is separating all of those chroma bundles with icons. So in this shop you will be able to buy the chromas separately from the icons, meaning that as previously these bundles were 40 Mythic Essence and they had the chroma and the icon, now you can buy the chroma separately for 35 and the icon for 5. At least Riot admits that the icon doesn't really have a lot of value. Now these shops will always reset on midnight UTC, and it should be Wednesday, unless it is the daily reset, then it just happens every day. And again, since they mentioned they can put items into the featured tab, they already teased that the next prestige skin after Kiana is gonna be for Aphelios somewhere during the summer. And that's really it for the Mythic shop update. Here I noticed that once again people are kinda separated into two sides. On one side you have people laughing at the fact that no one is really gonna use the new system because there is no real way of getting the Mythic Essence fast enough. And yes, they are absolutely right. This is because the Mythic Essence comes from the gacha machine these days. And to be fair, I think that is Riot's point. I am pretty sure they are updating the Mythic shop because it is all connected to the gacha machine. So should you lose your soul to all the rolling on random skins, well, then you might enjoy this shop. And in fact, that's where the other half of people is. It seems like the people who actually engage with these systems are pretty happy about these changes. I'm kinda in the middle because I'm not interacting with any of this. But it is cool to see that Riot is reacting to feedback they've heard from the people who do. But obviously it should also be pointed out that this entire rotating shop will get more and more value as we get more and more items rotating in it. I mean, again, already those 12 rotating skins is a lot. So we'll see where the frequency lands. But next, this update also talks about your shop. And mostly it just talks about the schedule. So the plan is that we will see 5 your shops throughout this year. But the cool thing is that one of these will be a legendary your shop. We didn't really get any details on that, so now I wonder, will that be like a shop that is just full of legendary skins? Hey, these days with the pricing, that's kinda like a normal shop. Which reminds me, your shop is actually up right now, and I have exclusive footage of me opening it. It was pre-opened, I didn't get to click anything, so my day is ruined. Which brings us to the third shop that is being updated, which is the Blue Essence Emporium. Now, the Blue Essence Emporium is scheduled to come out twice this year. The first one will be up from the patch 25.7 to 25.8, and the second one will just come out sometime later this year. Now, you may remember that after the entire Hextech debacle, the rate at which we earn Blue Essence actually increased. This is because at the same time people noticed that acquiring new champions is really bad after the entire progression update. Which is why Riot actually increased the rate at which we get Blue Essence. Of course, this is on top of Riot now cutting all champion costs by 50%. And so now people actually do have more Blue Essence than they did before. And Riot knows that, which is why they say that they will try to add in new items for people to enjoy. And they gave us an example with a new item that will be available for 250,000 blue essence called the Emporium Enjoyer title. So yes, that is a title for, once again, 250,000 blue essence. Now, going back a few years, you might remember how people laughed at the banners and all of those other items for the ridiculous numbers. But hey, at least now the rate at which you get these blue essence is higher. And for now, that is literally all they are adding into the shop. Everything else will be just the good old chromas that we are used to. But Riot also mentioned that they are listening to suggestions as to what they should be adding into the shop next. So, if you have a good idea for what could be a blue essence sink, Riot is ready to listen. Of course, at the end, they also added that they are paying close attention to the entire blue essence economy, and they want the blue essence emporium to land well. Of course, they do also mention the old banners, and here we can add how people laughed at the fact that they are quite similar, no matter how much you spend. And that's kinda it. Not just for the Blue Essence Emporium, but for the entire news. So, what did we get from this update? Well, your shop will be up more frequently. I don't really know how much people use it, because I don't really use your shop. This goes into the entire point of just people being tired of buying skins for champions, which is why League is kinda suffering right now. But hey, with the Legendary shop, it seems like Riot is really trying to push people into buying some skins. I mean, yeah, that's also why we can see more your shops now. Then there is Blue Essence Emporium, which will be back, though nothing is really changing there. And the Mythic shop is being turned into a proper rotating store with normal timers. I mean, it is 2025, finally we got here. So yes, this has the benefit of this system finally working like a normal system of this year. But of course, this is still all indirectly tied to the gacha machine, and so people will still tear it apart. But I am just happy that Riot is putting something like this together. Because remember, all of this is actually running in the client. It is not faked like the minigames. Those minigames are actually running in a web browser that is implanted into the client. But no, these stores, that is all the client's work. And my mind is blown that the client can track like 4 timers at once.